and become a better bodybuilder. Now listen, I am a professional. When we go out there and train, I might do a little bit more than you need to do. If you feel that I'm doing too much, lighten the load. And when you progress, increase the load. So with those thoughts in mind, that's good. Follow me. Let's have a good one today. You and I together. Hi, Tina. How are you? You know, when I'm in the gym, I try to be approachable at all times. When I'm doing a set, I'm 110% there. You can trust me on that. But I think it's also important to be as nice and kind as you can to everybody. Remember, this tough guy attitude doesn't get you anywhere. This is Pat Hughes. This is my training partner. Not only my training partner, he's my best bud. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be where I am today. He's pushed me through when I couldn't get myself through. And not to mention, he's one hellacious bodybuilder. One day we'll be standing on stage beside one another. There's one thing I would like to ask each and every one of you all before we start this training program, especially if you're over 35, please make it a point to get a complete checkup before you start this program or any exercise program. Training with weights only stimulates the muscle. The actual process of growth takes place outside of the gym. What I mean by that, on how well you eat, your nutritional program. I prefer a high protein, moderately low carbs, low fat diet. But enough of that. We'll talk about that in my next video. As far as my training regimen is concerned, it's 2 days on, 1 day off. This enables me to maximize my recovery time. Well, today's the first day of my workout. I begin it with chest. And I like to use the inclines as a primary movement. I no longer do flat benches unless I use it as a second or third movement in my training regimen. And one thing that I always do, and let me emphasize to you all, when I come into this gym, I can tell you exactly what body parts I'm going to do, but I have no idea what I'm going to do for that specific body part. Something else I always like to incorporate in my routine is the instinctive principle. It's one thing that I've really used that Joe Weider's taught me, and has worked fantastic. Anytime you come in and you do the same thing over and over and over, your body adjusts. It's such an intelligent mechanism. So if you come in here every day and you do something different, the instinctive principle, per se, is what's going to enable you to keep prospering. Therefore, your physique will constantly respond and constantly excel. And let me emphasize how essential it is to warm up. What I'm going to do is a couple of warm-ups, and then we're going to get started on this workout. We're going to have the best chest workout we have ever had. Now, let's go. Get ready.
Just warm it up for you.
I think we're going to have a strong workout today. I can feel it. Just warming up, but I can feel it. One thing I want to point out, I just finished the Arnold Classic in San Jose. It's been 4 weeks. I'm just now getting back into my training regimen. And there's something I'm going to emphasize, and I will emphasize this throughout the video. It's not the quantity of the weight, but the quality of the movement. It's not the quantity of the weight, but the quality of the movement. It's not the quantity of the weight, but the quality of the movement. Now, what you're going to notice is I'm not going to be able to use the poundages that I've used in my off season because I'm stepping back into my training regimen. But it doesn't matter. For the simple fact, I'm here to work the muscle. I left that ego at the door. I'm not going to let it have any bearing on me whatsoever. Let's go with a good warm-up, Pat. I always pyramid up in weights. But rather than show you all the sets, I want you to see how I perform a maximum effort set. Okay, what I've done is I've moved the weights up to 275. This will be as heavy as I go today. But remember, as I stated earlier, I'm not at my full potential as far as strength is concerned. My primary objective is just to work that muscle. Observe how my form is steady and smooth, never locking out at the top, with my concentration focused on working the muscle. I'll do 4 serious sets of inclines, keeping my reps between 6 and 20. You want to work both fast twitch and slow twitch fibers for maximum growth. Low reps work the slow twitch fibers, while higher reps work the fast twitch fibers. Excellent set. Okay, we just finished 4 sets of an incline barbell. What we're going to go over here and do is some incline dumbbell. Now, this is the exercise that I've chose today. It could be anywhere from flat bench presses to incline flies, flat flies, but today I'm going to use this exercise. One thing that I'm going to do that's different from the barbell inclines is I'm going to take this bench right here, And I'm going to lower it down just a little bit lower of an incline compared to what I had on the barbell incline. That's going to give me a little bit different of a feel. And one thing, like I've told you before, and I'll keep reiterating this and emphasizing on this, I'm going to do a light warm-up. Because even though we have done the same exact, around the same exact body part, we're going to a different exercise. So you're going to hit your chest and your tendons and ligaments in different areas. So you want to warm up, make sure you're fluent to that movement. So what I'm going to do, first of all, is grab 45-pound dumbbells, nothing of any heavy value. I'm going to sit up here and do a set.
Come on now, Porter. Squeeze it up.
Just a light warm-up.
Good work, Porter.
Let's move up one more set. This is the last set. Let's move up to something like 110 pounds for a good 8 to 10 reps. Okay, this is the last set. Pat?
Let's go now, babe.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Thank you, Pat.
Okay, here we go, Porter. Drive it up. Come on up.
I pyramid up on these, but I'll just show you my top set. Pay attention to the smooth, steady motion, the full stretch, and keep constant tension on the pecs by not locking out. Don't worry about the amount of weight. Focus on working the muscle. I'll do 4 working sets of 6 to 20 reps on dumbbell inclines. By now, I've got a terrific pump.
9, beautiful. 10.
Okay.
Super set. Good strength, man. Way to push.
That much closer to the Olympia. The Arnold, the San Jose, they're all finished. I'm on the road to the Olympia. In order to stand with guys like Dorian, Flex, Sean, Lita Brada, Kevin Leverone, I got to be my best. The only way I could be my best is give it 100% when I'm here.
What a slab, man.
Without this movement, I could have never obtained this. Incorporate this if you haven't. Let's go to the next one. And the next move is, I don't like flat benches too much. So today what we're going to do is some upright bench presses. Simulated movement, but I feel more out of the pectoral muscles versus the using the flat benches. So let's move on over that. This is where it's happening right here today in the gym. We're here for one thing. It's to get better than we were. That's everybody's objective, just to be the best that you can be. I don't know if you're fortunate to have one of these where you train, but it's a fantastic piece of equipment. I like it much more than I do the flat bench presses. Let's go to the first set.
Come on, Porter. Good push. Good push, man. Way to work. Squeeze it. Beautiful. Come on, Porter. Great.
Excellent set. Again, I do a few warm-up sets, then work up to 3 or 4 sets of 6 to 20. I do these with a concentrated motion, focusing on stretching and contracting the pecs with each rep.
Come on. Super, Porter.
Okay.
Good job. Good set.
Thanks, Pat. Thank God for partners. Let's head over onto the cable crossovers. Hey, do you mind we work in with you?
Sure.
Hey, thanks. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Okay. You know, one thing that I've always tried to do my whole life, especially as a bodybuilder, it's unfortunate bodybuilders have such a bad reputation. I don't know whether they're under a lot of stress from the diet or whatever it may be. I mean, I even get under a lot of stress. But I tell you, most important things, save the aggression. If you have any whatsoever, save it for your sets. Let it be what helps provide you for your energy for your sets. Be as kind as you can to people, because we're all in this together. You know, we all have bad days and we have good days. Now, I'm using this as a movement to move blood into the muscle tissue and all my mainstream movements. And what I'm doing with this is doing as high reps as I can and forcing as much blood into the muscle. up to 80 pounds. Get right here. Last time. Notice that I step forward on these to add tension to the pecs at the start of the movement. Notice also that I pull the handles to the front of the groin instead of in front of the chest. The motion is like doing a crab pose. When you pull the handles in front of the groin, you're following the natural movement of the pectorals. Also note how I pause briefly in the contracted position. I'll do 4 sets of 8 to 25 reps on the crossover. The goal is to put as much blood in the pecs as possible and end my chest workout with a maximum pump. Pick me up. We finished chest. We had a great chest workout. And now we're going to shoulders. Because we're going to start off with some front barbell Smith machine presses. Then we're going to move on to laterals. And one of the factors that bother me doing chest and shoulders together, when you work chest, you work about 80 to 90% of your deltoids. My philosophy is, you've already forced 80 to 90% of the blood into the deltoids. You've basically worked them. Why not finish the job? One thing that I want to point out, a lot of people tell me that my deltoids are one of my strongest body parts. I have been fortunate enough, even as a young child. I remember joining my first gym at 20 years old, 124 pounds. Believe it or not, I still have deltoids. My primary objective is to be as fully developed all over, with everything being perfectly balanced, everything flowing perfectly as a piece of art. And that's what I am, an artist.
Come on, forward.
So my last set. I'll usually start out with 135, and I'll never go any higher than 2 1/4. Okay, ready?
Here we go.
Okay.
Come on.
I never do behind the neck presses because it's an abnormal movement that puts excess stress on the shoulder joint. Like always, I pyramid my front presses, doing 4 sets of 6 to 20 reps. Take a medium grip, not too wide, come all the way down with a full stretch, and stop at the top before a full lockout.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Can you get the same amount of leg press that you do with squats?
Sure you can. Main thing with every exercise, any exercise could be a mass building movement. I no longer do squats for the simple fact I try to keep my waist small. But if you get in on a leg press and you give it 110%, keep your reps relatively high, and always give it 100%, you'll get just as much out of the leg press as you will a squat.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, take care. You know, as I've said before, I try to be as accessible to people as I can between sets. There's only one thing I usually ask of everyone. Just let me get my set in, and after I'm finished with my set, you can ask me anything you'd like. Next, I move to lateral raises to work the side head of my deltoids. Form is vital in this exercise, so you don't want to go too heavy on these. I do 4 sets of 15 to 20 reps, focusing on getting the contraction at the top. Bring the weight up until it's parallel with the floor and stay in control of the weight. Remember, it's not the quantity of the weight, but the quality of the movement. One of the factors involving it being the best movement, a simple fact, is when you want to accentuate the width of the shoulder versus the size of the waist, you want to add a cap to it. Your presses are fantastic, but this right here, you're able to isolate either the front deltoid, the side deltoid, or the rear deltoid. And doing that, this causes your shoulders to expand. Gives you that round ball, the ball. And that's what I'm trying to grab for, is that ball. So when I stand on stage, not only do I look broader, my waist looks smaller, even though my waist isn't smaller. It's the fact that I've added so much to the cap of the deltoid. A lot of times people will do the movement like this right here and just throw it back. It's a side lateral. Do it as it is. Go straight out to the side. Straight out to the side, okay? If you have to drop down to 15 pounds, drop down to 15 pounds. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to rear deltoids, okay? So many bodybuilders today, both amateur and even some of the pros, they lack in the rear deltoid development. And what I'm going to use is a piece of equipment such as this right here. Instead of doing the regular bent over dumbbell rows, this isolates me. This takes the pressure off my lower lumbar area. Again, people tend to use too much weight on these. You're not doing rows here. You're doing flies. You want to keep the weight out from the body. I warm up, then do 4 sets of 6 to 20 reps. Focus on fully contracting the rear delt at the top. Don't neglect your rear delts. They not only round out your shoulders, they also add impressive depth to your upper body from the rear. We've already finished the front, the side, and the rear delta weight. Now I'm going to finish my shoulder workout off with trapezius work. Now, in off season, since I've been blessed so much with large trapezius muscles, I do them every other shoulder workout. This so happens to be the day that I'm going to do it. And what I'm going to do, and what I like the best, is the dumbbell shrugs. One thing we want to emphasize on, as on later in the video, we'll talk about doing calves. You want a full contraction. And the same thing with trap. A lot of people they'll bring it up and roll it, or they'll bring it up a partial amount and let it back down. Full contraction. Remember, again, I got to emphasize, it's quality, not quantity. That's it. That concludes our trapezius workout, and that's the end of our shoulder workout. So that's workout number 1, chest and shoulders. It's very simple, nothing fancy or complicated, just the basics properly performed. Now it's time for a shower, then home for the post-workout meal, then back tomorrow for back and biceps. See you then. The primary reason every one of us step into the gym to lift weights, I'm sure we admire that certain look of a bodybuilder. But most importantly, we're there to better ourselves and to enhance our own self-esteem. Hey, it's nice to see you again today. We're doing a hard workout. Let me tell you a little bit about my back. 1988, I did the junior nationals. Yeah, I won. I was fortunate enough to win my class and the overall. But let me say something. They told me that my back was very weak. After that point, I said never again. So when I went back to the drawing board, I pulled out some exercises that I knew were going to be the best developers, and I use them. And what I'm going to share with you today is the exercises that made my back what it is today, because I am very proud of my back. So what we're going to do is start off with just a couple of light warm-ups, like I always do. And today we're starting out with front pull-downs. I normally never, ever do chins, very rarely. But this is a simulated movement. You can get the same benefit from it, but more of an isolated movement. You don't have to cheat. And if you're working out by yourself, you can do it on your own. You don't need a partner. Okay, I'm going into the last set right here. I have to use these straps. Not only does it hold my hands on the bar, I have very little hands. That's something I do have probably the smallest of in the sport of bodybuilding, hands. So it enables me to do heavier poundages and not cause any problems as far as losing my grip. It's my last set. I'm going to go about 8 or 10 reps. The main thing is just give it 100%. Notice I take a medium grip, not excessively wide, because no matter what you've been told, a wide grip does not widen your lats. The poundage is moderate, a weight I can control and feel. I'll do 2 or 3 warm-ups and then 4 sets of 8 to 25 reps. Wins you. That's why it pays to do cardiovascular work in your off season. Anytime you're working back, put a lot of pressure on your diaphragm, especially when you start doing the bent over movements. And that's what we're going to next, to what I consider the best all-around movements you could ever do for back development, both thickness, width, you name it, it'll do it. Let's go to wide grip rows. Okay, we're to the bent over rows. We're going to do a light warm-up like we always emphasize on. Pat and I both emphasize on it a great deal. My warm-up's usually 135. One thing you want to pay attention to do, you want to arch your back and kneel down. Put a good tuck in your knees to take the stress off your lower back. I'm telling you right now, if you don't implement this into your program, you'll never have a champion back. And in order to beat me, Flex Wheeler, Dorian Yates, all the other guys, Sean Ray, you're going to have that back.
Nice and smooth for it.
One point that I want to make when you're doing bent over rows, You know, I hear of a lot of guys doing 315, 365, even 405 on bent over rows. My God, I don't know how they do it. You'll see when I do them, I never really exceed 275. On a really good day, I'm feeling spunky, I'll go to 295. I use smaller increments as I'm going up. My first set usually consists of 185. I'll move up to 2 1/4, 275, and as I stated earlier, if I'm feeling really good that day and strong, I'll move up to 295. One thing that I always want to emphasize, as I always do on back, especially back because you don't need an injury. You injure your lower back, your career is over. It's quality, not quantity. Quality, not quantity. Quality, not quantity. Okay. It's going to be our first good set right here.
Good job.
Okay. We just finished wide grip rows. Very strenuous movement. It takes a lot out of you. The next movement I've chose for the day, we're going to one-arm dumbbell rows. I think it's fantastic for thickening of the lats and lengthening of the lats. Now, as I've told you before, I use what is called an instinctive training principle. I know what body part I'm going to work for that day, but I don't know what I'm going to do exactly for that body part. And today I've chosen one-arm dumbbell rows for my third exercise. It's a fantastic mass builder. Helps enhance the thickness of the lat and also lengthens the lat. Main things do full contraction, as I've always emphasized on everything else, all the way down, all the way up. Never cheat yourself. Remember, it's quality, not quantity. I take the stress off my lower back by keeping one knee on the bench. Lower for a full stretch, then pull the dumbbell to the lower pec, keeping your elbow tucked in. If you let your elbow wander out, you'll involve the biceps too much. I'll do 4 sets of 15 to 20 reps on these. Now we finish with one-arm dumbbell rows. I'm pretty exhausted, but I've got one more exercise I'm going to show you. And what we're going to finish off with is some seated rows. You want to get some stretch on these, but not excessive. Smoothly pull the bar into your abdomen while arching your back for a complete contraction. Now what I'm going to finish off with for my back training is some hyperextensions to help develop my lower back. A lot of people like deadlifts, but I don't do them. I'm a bodybuilder, not a powerlifter, and I think deadlifts are dangerous. I also think they flatten out the traps, so I stick with hyperextensions. I don't use any weight on hyperextensions. I focus on my lower back, going slightly beyond parallel. Arch too high and you can damage your disc. 3 sets of 15 to 25 reps should do it. Next, we're going to biceps. Now, the reason I'm doing biceps with back, I've always incorporated it like that for a simple fact. I think it avoids injury because the bicep's fully warm. True, you might not be as strong, but it doesn't matter. Remember, it's quality, not quantity. Now, secondly, most importantly, you indirectly worked your biceps, anywhere from 80 to 90%. You forced a lot of blood into the muscle. Why not go ahead and take care of business and finish it off? Now, what we're going to do today is that, as usual, I'm using instinctive principle. I've decided to do dumbbell curls, and I'm going to finish off with some preacher curls. Very seldom do I ever do straight bar curls. It puts a little too much stress on my elbows and my wrist. So I'm going to do a light warm-up, and then we're going to move on to the real thing. Now we're going to the real thing. Now you notice every set I was adding a great deal of supination in there. The point that I always try to make is very simplified. Make sure that your pinky goes into your front deltoid. Always full contraction. You want to build full, complete, lengthened bicep. Come on, Pat. I'll do 3 or 4 sets of 6 to 20 reps and then move to easy bar preacher curls. The easy bar takes the strain off the wrist and elbows. Sometimes I'll do the easy curls first and then the alternate curls. As I said before, I'm always doing different things to stress the muscle in new ways. The reason I do easy bar preacher curls is to get a full contraction of the biceps. This helps give your bicep that thick, bald look. I usually finish my bicep workout off with some concentration curls. You'll notice that I'll use the preacher bench to do my concentration curls. This enables me to get a better contraction on my biceps. I'll usually do 2 to 3 sets, anywhere from 12 to 20 reps. Always fully contracting the bicep. Now we've just completed our bicep workout. I finished off with isolated concentration curls on the preacher bench. Now I've got to be honest with you about something. I never do forearms. It's something I've been genetically gifted with. Something I want to point out that one of the factors involving me never doing forearm work. When you do back training, you use a lot of your hand grip. Therefore, there's where my forearm work comes in. Now that we've completed back and biceps, you know, some days I come in here and I have a fantastic workout. Other days I don't. I've got to share something with you. I see so many people get upset when they come into the gym. They get depressed because they might not be able to get a specific lift or lift a certain amount of poundage. But that's not what it's about. If you look at things in perspective and keep them in perspective, just how lucky are we to be here? How many people would love to be able to walk in the door and be able to use the weight just with their hands or maybe even the legs that maybe they don't have access to or the ability to use. Train 2 days in a row. You know I do a 2-in-1. Tomorrow's my off day. The following day I'm coming back and we're going to do legs. I'll see you then. If I had to say one key element that keeps me going, it would have to be that one young kid that walks up to me and asks me for my autograph, or the letter that I might get that would say the fact that you have changed my life. You do not know the effect that you've had on me or my family. Well, hello. It's me again. I'm glad you're hanging in there with me. You know, I've had a day's rest. As I told you before, I do the 2 on, 1 day off. It works real well with me, and also works real well with my job. And one thing I want you to always remember, try to adjust equipment that best fits your body before you even start. And what we're going to do today is we're going to do legs. And when I do legs, I start off with extensions. One of the things that I do not want to acquire is an injury, so I need to warm up as thoroughly as possible. And what this does is it warms my knees and my quads up. I'll usually do 4 to 5 sets, 15 to 25 reps. And one thing that I always want to emphasize on, and I stress this so much, is always be in control of the movement. Remember, it's not the quantity of the weight, but the quality of the movement that you're doing. Your primary objective is to work the muscle, not move the weight. Even the warm-ups can be disastrous. I remember when I first started working legs, there was a point in time where I was even embarrassed to wear shorts. I remember swimming in the swimming pool with long sweats on. I remember them days well. Now I'm very proud of my legs. It's taken a lot of hard work. There was a point in time, as small as my hands are, I could put them around my legs and move them around, but now I can't even come close. And the reason that is because I've worked so hard and dedicated myself, emphasizing on the exercising and the nutritional aspect of it. A lot of people say you can't build legs without squatting. And while I respect their views, I can't say I agree. I haven't squatted in about 10 years because I want to keep my waist and butt as small as possible. Yet my legs keep improving. Notice how I do the extensions using good control, holding and contracting at the top. I do 4 work sets of 15 to 25 reps, and I never exceed 130 pounds. That may sound light, but most people get tendonitis from these because they use too much weight. Do them right, and they're number 1 for strengthening the tendons and ligaments. This is the leg presses, you all. This is what I do for my mass building movement. As I told you earlier, I don't squat any longer. But I'm going to tell you right now, you can get the same development with these leg presses as you can with squats. Main things you got to do is push yourself. And what I'm doing right now, and let me emphasize this, I'm just warming up. Every exercise I do, even though it's the same body part, I do a couple light warm-ups to avoid injury. Now, something I do different than most people is I do a lot of reps. No less than 20, and yes, I do go as high as 50, 60, and 70. And I've come to find out that this is what's help develop my quads even more so. And one thing else, I used to have knee problems, and I quit wearing wraps, knee wraps. A lot of people use that as a crutch. And when I stopped wearing knee wraps, my legs responded more, my knees quit hurting me, and I felt more of an excruciating pump. And I wasn't able, should I say, not to use the same poundages, but as time went on, and I adjusted not using wraps, I got stronger, much stronger. Let's go, 60. You think I can do it? Well, I'm going to tell you something. I have faith in each and every one of you all. And I just want you to have faith in me. Okay, let's do it. 3, 4. A popular exercise that I never do is hack squats. Ask any orthopedic surgeon, he'll tell you how devastating hacks are to your knees. Man, if you're not queasy after that, you don't get queasy. Don't let that stop you, though. I've thrown up many times and come right back out and did the same thing over and over. You know? We're going to hamstrings. I always do quads and hams together. I seem to be stronger on hamstrings after quads versus doing them segregated. But I got to emphasize, you got to give it 110%. Let's do hamstrings. Come on. I'll often conclude my quad workout by returning to the leg extension and doing 2 or 3 more sets with 30 or 40 pounds, just to get as much blood into the muscle as I can. Lying leg curls are my primary hamstring exercise. As always, I do a few light sets. I'll do these in controlled fashion, contracting the hamstrings hard at the top. And you know my motto by now. It's the quality of the movement, not the quantity of the weight. 5 or 6 sets of 10 to 25 reps really stimulate my hamstrings. One more. That's it. It's the last of the leg curls. Wait a minute. I also do seated leg curls for 3 or 4 sets of 10 to 25 repetitions. These really give you strong contraction of the hamstrings. I got one more. One more. Okay. That's it. Bad thing about this movement is getting out of it. My God. I don't know how many people do this. I think it's one of the best ones you could do overall for hamstrings, for the reason being, it's the simple fact that it isolates the hamstrings, such as a preacher curl for your biceps. This is it right here. From nothing to these right here. That concludes our quad and ham workout. Thumbs up. Thanks for being here for the leg workout. Let's go on to calves now. If you noticed, I wear boots when I train. The reason I wear boots is for the simple fact of stability. I have very small feet. I wear a 7.5. My feet kill me if I wear anything else but. But when it comes to doing calves, which is what we're about ready to do, I need, and it's most important, that I get a full contraction, and I cannot do it with boots. So what I use, you all, I either go barefooted, or I use something that's flat-soled, and this is what I suggest to each and every one of you all, to actually maximize the full benefit of calf development, getting your calf work They might not look the greatest, but they get the job done. Okay, let's start our calf workout. Let me say something before we start. One thing we got to emphasize on is a full contraction, all the way up, all the way down. What I do is a high volume day, a low volume day. I train calves every other day. On alternate days that I don't do calves, I do abs. And we'll talk about that a little later. But right now, I'm going to start off with a low volume day. And what my low volume is 15 to 25, maybe 30 reps. On a high volume, I'll do as much as 100 reps, 50 to 100. And believe it or not, I won't even use 20 or 30 pounds because still at the same time, I want to get the full contraction. So let's go ahead and start with a warm-up. Just do a couple light warm-ups and we'll get going, okay? Again, we got to adjust the equipment for us short people. A lot of people say you have to be born with good calves. I sure wasn't. My calves used to be, well,
Pitiful. Pathetic. Putrid.
well, you get the point. Standing calf raises are the basic mass builder. Again, note my form. A full stretch, then all the way up for a maximum contraction. The standing calf raises focus on the gastrocnemius, which is the large outer portion of the calf. But you also want to work the soleus, which gives you the width and the depth to the calf. That's where seated calf raises come in. This exercise applies all the stress on the soleus, which lies underneath the more visible gastrocnemius, but is just as important. Again, I focus on doing full movements, all the way up and all the way down. As far as sets and reps on these, I'm really instinctive. I do them until I think the soleus has had enough. That's right. Now, we finished legs, we finished calves. Personally, I like to do triceps with my quads, hams, and calves. It's a small body part, and I find I have enough energy to go ahead and complete it. Now, what I usually start off with is tricep pushdowns. And there's a very important factor why I do that. The simple fact is I acquired an injury a few years back, so I'm very paranoid. And what I feel is this is one of the best elbow movements, or tricep movements, to warm the elbow up, should I say. And what I'll do is I'll do 4 or 5 light sets, pyramiding the weight, and then I'll start my initial set. So let's start the warm-up. One thing you want to emphasize on, up to the sternum, full contraction all the way down, up to the sternum. Always be in control. Remember, if you remember anything I ever tell you, quality, not quantity. Now that I'm thoroughly warmed up, let's start with our first heavy set. I usually start from the point of 110 pounds. I might move all the way down to 160, 170, keeping my reps between 10 and 20 at all times. I'll do 4 to 6 work sets of 10 to 20 repetitions, bringing the bar all the way up to my sternum and fully contracting the triceps at the bottom. Another reason why I use this as one of my first movements, I feel a pre-exhausted triceps. Therefore, with my elbow being so sensitive, the next movements I go to, I won't be able to use the poundages that I would if I normally started first on them. Okay, we just completed the tricep push downs. My next movement, and my primary movement for the day, is going to be close grip benches. Now, I prefer to do them with the Smith machine versus the free weights. The simple fact is more isolated. I get a better feel out of it. You just want to take a medium grip, do a light warm-up. You'll find on the Smith machine you can't use the poundages you would if you use free weight because of an isolated, or being an isolated movement. But you're getting the same effect. Remember, I used Tricep push down is a pre-exhaustion. Trust me, it's definitely pre-exhausted my triceps. There's one thing I've always felt I kind of lacked in, and that was arm development. I've done my best to try to bring them up, and I think I have. When you see me on stage, you no longer see a person with arms that might be lagging behind. You see arms that are up to par with the rest of his body, and that's what my objective is, to be totally symmetrical and balanced. Ooh. 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 Two more. This is the completion of our tricep workout. What I've done is push downs and went to the mass building movement, close grip benches. What I'm going to finish off with is some behind the neck tricep extensions, okay? Always remember to do a full contraction all the way down and all the way up with the dumbbell. 4 or 5 sets of 10 to 15 reps leaves me with a terrific tricep pump. That's the end of a tricep workout. As I said earlier, I don't stick to a fixed routine in my training. I'm constantly changing things around to keep my muscles off guard and growing. What you've seen me do in this video is a fairly representative sample of the workouts I do for each body part. I hope you've been able to pick up a tip or two to help you with your own training. Above all, whether your goal is to make it in professional bodybuilding or to make it in another field, remember, everyone has a special talent. Figure out what your talent is, then conceive, believe, and achieve. My favorite author and philosopher is Og Mandino. I'd like to share with you this poem from his book, A Better Way to Live. Lord, forgive me when I whine. Today upon a bus I saw a lovely girl with golden hair. I envied her. She seemed so gay, and I wish I were as fair. When suddenly she rose to leave, I saw her hobble down the aisle. She had one leg and wore a crutch, but as she passed, I smiled. Oh God, forgive me when I whine. I have 2 legs. The world is mine. I stopped to buy some candy. The lad who sold it had such charm. I talked with him. He seemed so glad. If I were late, 'twould do him no harm. And as I left, he said to me, I thank you. You have been so kind. It's nice to talk with folks like you. You see, he said, I'm blind. Oh God, forgive me when I whine. I have 2 eyes. The world is mine. Later, while walking down the street, I saw a child with eyes of blue. He stood and watched the others play. He did not know what to do. I stopped a moment, then I said, why don't you join the others, dear? He looked ahead without a word, and then I knew he could not hear. Oh God, forgive me when I whine. I have 2 ears. The world is mine. With feet to take me where I go, with eyes to see the sunset's glow, with ears to hear what I would know. Oh God, forgive me when I whine. I'm blessed indeed. The world is mine.